So, you want to make a Roblox game, but you have no idea where to start or what to do. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can make your own Roblox game in 2023. Let's get into it. Step number 1, install Roblox Studio. If you don't know what Roblox Studio is, it's basically the game engine where Roblox games are made. So if you don't have Roblox Studio, make sure to go download it. You should go to the Create tab on your computer, and this only works for PC or laptop or anything like that. It does not work for mobile devices or console. It only works for desktop. So make sure you have a desktop, and usually when you install Roblox on your computer, it should automatically come with it, but if it doesn't, then just go to the Create tab, and then it should say you should see a button that says Install. Alright, step 2. Now that you have Roblox Studio, I'm going to take you through some of the basics. So once you're on this screen right here, you want to click this, base plate. So this is basically the main game area world that we're going to be working in, and this is how it should look. Now it shouldn't look exactly like this because I customized mine, but I'm going to take you through some of the basics. Alright, step number one for using Roblox Studio. How do you move around? Well, if you have played Roblox before on your computer, you should know how to move around, but if you haven't, or you just don't know how to move around in Roblox Studio, it's the same as moving around on a computer. You just use WASD, W to go forward, S to go backwards, D to go right, and A to go left. Or you can use the arrow keys on your computer, whichever one you want. And then if you want to turn, up or down, you hold down right click on your mouse, and then you can look down or up or anywhere you want. So usually a good tip for when you're moving is instead of using A and D and S to move left, right, or back, use your mouse while you move forward. So only hold down W or the forward A key, hold down right click, and then turn wherever you want to go while you're still going forward. That's just a very simple, easy way in how you move on Roblox Studio. Alright, so now how do we build stuff? It's because being a game developer, you need to know how to build stuff, or else, well, you're not going to get anywhere. So this is how you build stuff. So up here on the top of your screen, you have this bar here. What you want to do is you want to press part right here. You click the part icon, and then it should spawn a part somewhere in your world. Now, you will see here on the workspace, it will say part. The workspace is basically the service of where all your, that's where all your stuff that you can see in your game, all the visible stuff that you can interact with, that's where it goes. It goes in the workspace. So now that you have your part in here, you will see these 4 options up here: select, move, scale, and rotate. Scale means you'll bring up these it'll bring up these dots here, and you can use them. You can hold one down and move it, and then that's how you scale it. You can scale it up, down, left, right. You can scale it in or out like this. You can scale it however you want. And a scale trick is if you select an object and you hold Control, you will be able to move it like this. Move both sides at the same time rather than having to do that and then do that. You can move them both at the same time if you press Control, or you can hold Control. Either if you press Control, it will work, or if you hold Control, it will work as well. Anyways, another thing that you can do is if you hold Shift, or if you press Shift, and you can scale it, the whole thing, to whatever size you want. So those are some tricks for scaling on Roblox Studio. And that is how you make basically a wall. You can make a wall with this, you can make a floor with this, like this, or anything. And if you were wondering how it is this smooth, you go up here to model, and you'll see move and rotate. You can make this you can make it not smooth if you want. Like, you can make it really not smooth to rotate it, or you can make it super smooth, like this. So basically just experiment with rotate and move for whatever works best for you. And that is how you make a simple part. And if you want to delete something, press backspace on your keyboard. And that is how you build basic stuff. And if you see over here under part, you see this arrow, you have some more like objects you can add in, like cylinder and stuff. It works the same way. You can scale it like this, and you can rotate it like that, and you have a cylinder. So you can rotate stuff, you can still scale stuff, and then for moving stuff, moving is basically more just, this move tool is a more precise way of how you move stuff, because you can select an object and move it like this, but using the move tool is a more precise way of moving your part or object or whatever you have. And then select is basically just select. It just means you can select your part. So, now that we've gone over the basic, ways you can do stuff with objects and parts and all that stuff, now we should go over the properties. So if you add in a part here, you'll see properties. If you don't see properties, go up here to view, and then you'll see properties right here, as well as explore, which is this, which shows all the services for your game, as well as toolbox, which gives you a list of things you can type in and everything that you can get free models, and you will see what I mean by that in a minute. So select whatever object you want and then go to properties. It will give you a list of properties you can change. You can change the brick color, which gives you this color palette, and if you hover over a certain color, it will give the name of that color. You have cast shadow, that basically just is like the shadow that appears. So if I press this, it will appear the shadow or not. Color is more of a precise way of, changing color. It uses RGB, and you can already have basic colors here as well. It shows you exactly where the color is, and you can add custom colors if you want to make your own color. And you can experiment with this, or you can type in the number if you want, and that's color. Color and brick color are two different things. Brick color gives you pre-made colors. Color gives you RGB method of making colors, so a more precise way. And now material. Material is how you change, the material of an object. Like I can change this to pavement, plastic, pebble. I can change it to whatever material I want. So that's how you do it. You can also use Material Manager, which is here. Material Manager, you can go to Home and press Material Manager. It's next to Color. This color up here does the same thing, but Material Manager is up here. By default, it should probably spawn down here, but I moved mine over here. If you want to move stuff, just grab the top of, your little tab thing. Grab the top of it, and you'll see this, you can move it wherever you want, but you will see this little thing in the middle. If you move your mouse to the top, it will put it on the top, the side, this will just make it bigger, this will make it full screen, this will make it a little bit less bigger, and this will make it small, and then you can also do it for the bottom of your screen as well. So I like mine over here. You can do it for whatever you want. So back to the properties. Now, reflectance. Reflectance is how much it reflects the sun's light. So, like if I had let's change the material to glass. There's glass. Glass, there we go. Glass. Wait, glass right there. So now reflectance is how much it reflects. So it works best with glass and stuff, because glass reflects the sunlight. So glass reflects the sunlight pretty well, so you can change the reflectance of anything. And then transparency just means how much your part is transparent. Like 1 means it's fully transparent, and 0 means it's not transparent. So that's what transparency does. If you see me skipping over some properties, that's because you don't need to worry about what they mean right now. These are just the basic properties to get you started, and the ones you're probably going to be using most of the time. You probably won't be using any of the other properties that I skip over. Anyways, down here you'll see locked. Locked basically just means if you can select your part or not. So if I select lock, you see that I cannot select my part even if I try to, I cannot. The only way I can is if I go to the workspace and find that part, and I can select it like that. And if you unlock it, you can select it and move it around freely without having to go to the workspace. And the reason for lock is if you're trying to select a lot of stuff like this by holding down left click and then moving your mouse, if you want to select a lot of stuff, you might not want to select something. So if you don't want to select something, like let's just say I duplicate this part. If you want to duplicate stuff, you can press over here on this side, duplicate, or Control D, and it should duplicate a part. And sometimes it might spawn on top of the part like this when you duplicate it. That's just, like I said earlier, under the model, that's just your move and rotate and everything up here. Whether it's, and collisions and stuff, that's basically what, that's why it will spawn on top of the part. But if you have collisions off, it should spawn inside the part, so you have to take it out of the part. And that's how you duplicate stuff. You can also click copy and then you can paste it and everything, but duplicating is way more efficient, and it just makes like a complete copy of your part. So I'm going to duplicate this, and let's just say you can also lock stuff up here. You'll see next to color, you can lock it right there. You'll bring this icon up here, you just click the part and it will lock it. And then that's how you lock the part. So if I wanted to select these two things, the spawn and then this part, I can do that, but maybe I don't want to select this part. So I can do that, and even though my mouse went over this part, it does not select it. But if I click this lock and then unlock that part, then you should see, actually wait, I need to do it this way, and you can select it through the workspace, and then unlock it like that. And now, I should be able to select it. Now, I unlocked the base plate by accident. The base plate should automatically be locked by default, so you can unlock it if you want, but you don't have to if you want. And that's basically how you lock stuff. Now let's go over grouping stuff. So let's say I had a bunch of parts here. Let's just say I had a bunch of parts. I'm gonna select all these and then duplicate them. Let's just say I had a bunch of parts, and now I want to be able to make this a model. So you see I have all these parts in my workspace. Now, if I select all of these parts like this, or you can go over here and select all these parts like that. If you select all the parts, you can press group up here, and then when you press group, it should make it a model. So as you can see on this side of your screen, it'll have model. And that is what inside here, you can also press these arrows on the side. You will see all the parts or anything that I put inside this model. So that's modeling. That's how you make basic models. If you want to unmodel it, you can press actually you can press Control U, and then you can unmodel stuff like that if you wanted to do that, or ungroup stuff. So that's how you group stuff. That's very useful if you want to make like walls or maps and you want to group the whole thing together without having a bunch of parts and everything all over the place. And the main use for that is, let's say you had like a very big game and you had a bunch of stuff in your workspace, but now it's not organized and it's a mess and everything. Now you can't find what you want. Well, grouping is a great way of fixing that. And that's what grouping is. So now we've gone over these basic properties, and there's another one, is anchored. And anchored is another basic property. You can also change them over here as well. Anchored over here in the properties tab as well. Anchors right here. Anchored basically means when I play the game, this part will stay where it is. So if you want to play your game to test it out, you can click this play button up here, and when you press that, it should load the game like if you were loading into any normal Roblox game, and you'll show your character here, and you'll spawn on the spawn location. This is what this is, where the players will spawn. And as you can see, my part is floating in the sky. Alright, so it's floating, and if I was to run into it, I can't reach it, but if I was to run into it, I won't be able to move it. So now if I stop the game by pressing the stop button up on the top of my screen, you'll see if I select my part here, and I unanchor it, now I play my game, you will see that the part falls to the ground. I don't know if you could see it fall to the ground because I haven't quite fast, but it fell to the ground and now it's on the ground. and now you can't see, I can't move it right now because I'm too big compared to the part. But if I was to stop the game and then make this part maybe like a little bit bigger, and then I was to play my game, you will see that when I come over to my part, you will see now that it's on the ground, since it's not anchored, I should be able to push it like this. You see, I'm pushing it. Now, since this part is pretty big and heavy, it's kind of takes some work to push it, but now players can move this part literally wherever they want. So make sure if you're making like object or buildings and stuff, make sure everything is anchored, or else all your stuff will fall apart. Like if I was to, let's just say I wanted to make a small little room here. If I was gonna make a small little room like this, and then I was to do that, and then let's just say I was gonna make a floor next. This is how you make rooms, if you wanted to know how you make rooms. If you scale this like completely thin, and then the texture is going through, how you can do, usually what I do is I select the base plate. In the base plate you'll see this arrow. I get rid of the texture. The texture is kind of in the way and everything. I get rid of it. And usually when I have my map completely done, I get rid of the base plate itself. The base plate is basically just there to help you, so you know like where you'll basically be building everything, on which level you'll be building it on. But if I was to play my game, you'll see, and since all the parts are not anchored, you will see, actually, wait, I think they are anchored. Let me unanchor all these parts real quick. I'm gonna unanchor all these parts, so now when I play the game, you will see that all my parts they'll stay in its same spot, but if I was to run up to it, you won't, since it is anchored, it's not anchored right now, but it would, like, if I was to, let's say, let me do this. Let's say this is a little bit thinner like this, because I think the reason they're not falling is because they're all connected in each other, like inside of each other. As you can see how this part is like inside this part. You can see this outline is inside the part. So I'm just gonna make them outside of the part like this. So now if I was to play my game, everything should not stay in its spot and it should fall, since it's not anchored. There we go. So the roof fell, nothing else fell because it's not going to fall unless something else was connected to it. And there goes the floor. The floor is gone apparently, or the roof. Yeah, the floor and the roof are gone now, since they're so thin and everything. So that's what anchor does. Hopefully you understand what anchor is. Make sure it is very important to anchor everything, or everything that you don't want players to be able to move. So make sure you do that. That's what anchored property means. So I'm going to spawn in another part here and go to properties. So we went over these appearance properties. We went over a lot here under data. We also need to go over parent, and we need to go over parent, what parent means. Okay, so when you see parent here, you can also hover over parent right here. You'll see the instance that is directly above this instance in the tree. So that probably doesn't make any sense. You probably don't know what that means, so I'll explain it to you what parent means. Parent basically means, okay, so the parent of this part. The parent of the part is workspace. It says what the parent of the part is. So it says it's workspace on this side, and I cannot change that parent unless I was to press the workspace, and then you see it makes my mouse like this different. And then let's say I wanted the parent of the part to be terrain. So now you'll see the part moves into terrain, and now under the properties, parent of part, the part's parent is now terrain. So basically, if I put this back in the workspace, think of the workspace as the parent. Okay, so it's like the parent. Think of it as the workspace is like the parent, and then the part is the child of the parent. So basically, the parent of any object you have is basically, if this object was in here, starter GUI, then that means the parent of the part will be starter GUI. So anything that the part or object is in, whatever it's in will be the parent of your object, and the parent of the object, like starter GUI's child, the child of it is going to be part. And right now it doesn't say It actually does. The parent of starter GUI says it's base plate. I don't know why that's set to base plates, but I guess that's how the game works. But yeah, so the parent of this part is starter GUI since it's inside of this. The starter GUI's child is part because the starter GUI is the parent and its child is part because part is inside of it. So it works for anything. So basically the parent is anything that's inside the parent is basically the object or a part or object or anything you have. That's basically the parent is basically just what it's inside of, and then the child is basically whatever the parent's child is. So the camera, terrain, spawn location, base plate, and part are all children of workspace. So that's a term we use a lot when we're scripting as well. We'll use parent and child. That's basically all that means. So parent is basically the object's whatever the object is inside, and then child is whatever the object, or the child is basically whatever is inside of the parent. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's what parent means. So now name just the name of the part. So I can name this to object if I wanted to. Oops, I had caps on. Let me change that object. So now whenever I go here, the part's name is object. You can change the name by either, there's three ways to change the name. You can right click whatever your object is, you can right click it, and then you'll see down here rename. You press that, and then you should just be able to write whatever you want in here. It can be whatever you want, or you can press your part and then press the name of your part. So you can just double click the name of your part, or actually no, what you want to do is press your part or object or whatever, and then press the name of it, and then it should bring that same thing up, and you can change the name through that. Or you can go to properties and change the name through the properties right here. What I like to do is I usually like to change it like this, by pressing it like this, because it's just easier. I can change it right there. So I'm just going to name the part Lopez, because I can. So I'm going to name it that. That's the name of the part. And we go back to the properties. We're almost done with all the basic properties I will mainly be using all the time. So under transform. Transform is basically how you change like the position, the orientation, the C-frame of the part, and the size. You can do that by scaling it and moving it and rotating it as well. But this is like if you want to put a number down. So like if I go over here to position, if you want to change the position, make sure it's under C-frame and not origin. Or actually, origin does work, right? I think origin works. So if I was to change it to, you'll see 0, yeah, it'll work. C-frame does the same thing actually, so sorry, that was my bad. C-frame and origin are the same, or C-frame and origin position does the same thing. We're not going to be going over what that means right now. C-frame, I'll go over what that means. It's basically like, C-frame basically is being able to move a part, is basically moving the position of a part, and it handles the rotation of a part at the same time. So that's what C-frame means. And then origin, I guess that's just the origin of the part. So that's how you change the position, like with a number. You can do it under origin or C-frame. You can change it, and it will bring it to a random spot. I just put 0, 3, 0. That basically just puts it like in the center of the base plate or the center of your map. If you press this arrow next to position, you'll see X, Y, and Z. That's just the X, Y, and Z coordinates. Like if you press move here, these are the X, Y, and Z coordinates. That's why this arrow is green, blue, and red. I'm not too sure which one is which. Like, let me see. Okay, so the red is the X coordinate. As you can see, when I move the red, it changes the X coordinate. When I move the green, it changes the Y coordinate. And when I move the blue, it changes the Z coordinate. So that's basically what these arrows mean, and those are what the coordinates are. It changes it. So I'm just going to set this back to 0, 3, 0. And now, that's what transforming does. You can transform the size and everything of the part as well. under here, pivot, not too sure what that does. Make sure to not get confused with the pivot, and this transform, position and orientation. So far, if you change the pivot position, it's not going to change, oh wait, never mind, I know what this does. Okay, so it just moves your like arrow or rotation or scale like thing wherever you want it to be. So like I can just change it to that, and now it stays on the part like this, which is the default. Or if you want to change it to, let's say, a random number like 339, it will be over here, like kind of like this. So usually you would want to keep it on 0, 0, 0. It's just the default and it's easier to control and everything. That's what pivot does, so make sure you don't get confused with pivot's position orientation and C-frame's position orientation or origin position and orientation. I know that's kind of confusing, but if you want to change the position, you make sure it's under C-frame or origin and not pivot, unless you want to change like the pivot of your scale or rotate or anything like that. So that's that. So now can collide just means I can run through the part when I join the game. So like if I was to run the game here, if I was to play the game, if I turn can collide off, hold up, the part was not anchored, so it fell through the floor. So let me anchor the part real quick. And if I was to play my game, you will see here that I am standing inside the part, so I can run inside the part like that. But if I was to stop the game and then go to can collide and turn it to true, when I spawn in my game, I should probably spawn on top of the part, or I spawn away from the part. You see it pushed me away from the part. I can stand on top of the part and I can touch it and everything. That's what can collide does, basically saying if you can collide with it or not. So that's what can collide means. If it's set to true, then you can walk into it. If it's set to false, you cannot walk through, and you can walk through it. So can touch, you don't really have to worry about what that means. It's just if you can touch it or not. Then down here, anchored, we already went over anchored, and those are basically all the main properties that you'll be using. Okay, we've gone over the properties, we've gone over some basic stuff for Roblox Studio. Now, for scripting, you want to learn scripting, which is step 3, but if you don't know how to start scripting, because scripting is a whole new thing, if you want to learn scripting, I will put a card up on the top of the screen, and it will take you to my beginner scripting series, which I just finished, so make sure to go watch all of that, and that should give you a grasp of scripting on Roblox for beginners. And if you want me to make an advanced series for scripting, I can do that. Just make sure to let me know. So scripting is step 3. So you don't have to learn every single aspect of scripting to make a game. So if you want to learn every aspect, you can, but it's going to take a long time. And if you talk to professional scripters, I guarantee you they'll probably say they don't know a lot of stuff on scripting. Even on Roblox Studio themselves, they might not know a lot of stuff or how to do some stuff. That is okay. If you don't know how to do something, just look it up. You don't have to know every single thing that you can do, because game developers of big games, maybe like Piggy or Brookhaven or Bloxburg, all those games, they don't have to know every single aspect of scripting in order to make their game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them even had to look stuff up while they're making their game. So don't be afraid of looking stuff up if you don't know how to do something. But step 3 is making sure you know how to script, at least know some of the basics and some of the advanced stuff. I will probably make an advanced tutorials sometime, so just let me know if you want me to do that. So that's step 3. Now, step 4. Now step 4 is going to be a continuation of my beginner series, so I'm going to use some of the stuff we learned from my beginner series and a bit of new stuff, just a little bit new stuff, to make a small simple game. So now it's obviously to make a game. So you want to make sure you have your game idea and everything set up. If you don't know how to think of game ideas, I will probably make a video for just knowing how to do that. But when you have your game idea, it's time to start making your game. So I'm going to take you straight into that right now. Alright, so the game that we're going to be making for today's video is going to be a very basic, simple game that should not take that long. And this game idea was inspired by my friend. He's also making a game similar to this. And make sure to go play his game when it comes out. Yeah, so it's basically a simple game where you step on a tile and the tile falls and there's like different layers. So in order to start making this, we're going to make a tile first of all. And so if you want to be able to spawn in like a dummy or something to make sure your scaling is not too big or too small, just go over here on the toolbox. We didn't cover this toolbox yet. I'll just go over it briefly. You have models right here. You can change that to plugins, audio, videos, fonts, meshes, all that stuff. That's just you can search stuff as well. Like I can search up dummy. I spelled dummy wrong. Dummy right here. And you'll see a bunch of stuff. It gives you like the rating. You can press this to see the votes and everything and when it was created. So you can press it and it will come in your game just like that. That's how you get free models. People make models and you can get them. That's like if you want different assets for your game without having to make every single thing, you can get stuff from the toolbox. Just be careful because some stuff might have scripts in it. And you don't want to insert a script like has a virus or something in it, because if something is like not trusted, some people might submit stuff to the toolbox and it might have a virus in it. So make sure you're just very careful what you used. Go inside your whatever model it is and just make sure everything does not have anything weird in it. Like mesh is just like if I was to delete the mesh, it will make his head a block. That's just the mesh making his head a circle. Face is just his face image, and then like these root hip and like these are just like for rigging it, like the rig for the thing, just rigging its left hip, just rigging all its body parts to its humanoid root part. His humanoid root part is inside him. That's basically where like his whole body animation is inside. That's basically what a humanoid root part. It's basically at the center of your character. I'm not going to be going over rigging and everything like that because, like you said, there's so many fundamentals and so many things they would have to learn if you want to understand a lot of stuff for Roblox Studio and just for any game engine or any game that you're trying to make out there. It's a lot of stuff you have to learn. So I'm going to be making more tutorials on different subjects and everything. And like I said, if you want me to make an advanced tutorial for scripting, I can make that. I'm just going to be making different genres of different things for developing, so you can make your game, your dream game. If you want to make your dream game, you should be able to know how to do it if you watch a bunch of my tutorials, which are coming soon. So anyways, that's basically what the dummy is. And if something has scripts in it, it will say has scripts, so you can just check those scripts. Like if it will show like an icon. Like if I was to redo this, it will say respawning dummy includes 4 scripts. It tells you how many scripts there are. You can click OK, and then you can go review the scripts. These scripts are fine. These are just okay. These are good scripts. They won't do anything like. It's just like for animating scripts and everything. So that's what that means. So anyways, let's go back up to our character, which is way over here. And this is how you see how big your character, your players will be compared to stuff. So I'm just gonna scale this down a bit more like this. This will be our tile here that you will be able to jump on. That's big enough. I'm gonna move it like here. I'm going to change the brick color to maroon, and I guess that's good for now. That's our tile. So now we're gonna insert a script. This is where you would have to go watch my beginner scripting series. So once you do that, come back here. It shouldn't take you that long. I think all the videos combined together is at least maybe like an hour and something. So it's not that long. It might not even be an hour, I don't know. But it's probably like an hour and something. Like an hour and, I don't know, like 15 minutes if I was to guess. But go watch that and then come back to this video when you're done. And because this will not be teaching you how to script. This will just be using our scripting lodge from that we're bringing it to this. So you want to insert a script in here by pressing that plus button. Now insert a script. Like I said before, actually I don't know if I mentioned this in my beginner scripting series, but we're not going over local scripts right now, because you might see local scripts and stuff. We're not going over that. We're just going to use a script. Script basically just runs on the whole server, so it'll happen for everybody. So I'll explain to you what local scripts and all that stuff is in another video. For now, we're just going to be using our past knowledge to make this game. So insert a script, and this is what we're going to write. So first we're going to write script dot parent. Actually, no. Sorry, I'm going to make a variable first for this, so we're just going to say part equals script dot parent. There we go. So if you don't know what script.parent is, basically just means script and then the parent, and then we're going to get the parent of the script. So that's what I explained earlier, what parents and children are. So every time we say script.parent, it knows that we're talking about this, instead of us having to write game.workspace.lopez, which is the name of our part. So you can just say script.parent. So let's write something else now. Alright, so if we drop down some lines here, now that we have a variable for our part, you don't have to write a variable, I'm just going to do that to make it easier. Now we're going to write an event, so part.touched::connect function. I think in my events video I went over what touched, what the event touch does whenever you touch. Yeah, I went over it, so I'm going to be using that same event. And now in here, we're going to write part dot transparency. I'm gonna go transparency equals 1. So whenever you touch the part, it should turn transparent. And now let's write part dot, let's say anchored equals false. Alright, there we go. Oh, and let's also do this, part dot can collide equals false. So basically, whenever we touch this part inside here, this is what's going to happen. It's going to make the part transparent. It's going to make the anchored property set to false, so it will fall out the sky. So let me make sure it is anchored. Okay, it is anchored. The part is anchored. I'm going to get rid of the dummy. I don't need the dummy actually anymore. So now I'm going to make another part up here. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to get rid of this part's script because I don't need this one's script. I just need this one's right here. And this part is I'm just going to use this part so I can spawn on top of it and jump on this part to see if it works. So now if I was to play here, and now I spawn on top of this part, now when I jump on this part, it should fall. So there you go. Just like that. Now it's gone. So now that's basically how you make like a simple like thing for your game, for like stepping on a part and stuff. So now if we wanted, let's actually make this like a bit slower, so it's not just immediate, so the players at least have some time. Let's do 0.5. Let's wait 0.5 seconds and see how that works. So now let's see how long. Basically adding a wait in there is just gonna wait the script like 0.5 seconds. So let's see. Okay, so that works out pretty good. To make it a little bit more smooth, actually I'm gonna set this actually to wait 1. And now to make this a bit more smooth, I'm gonna grab this transparency, add it under here, and this first one I'm gonna do 0.5, and this one I'm gonna do 1. So it should make it a little bit more smooth so it doesn't just disappear while you're still on the part. So what this should do is when I join in the game and I step on the part, it slightly goes transparent and then it drops out of the sky and it's gone. So there we go. We have that work. So I'll actually just make it like wait 1.5 seconds, or yeah, let's say 1.5 seconds. So actually no, let's just say 2 seconds so they give the players enough time. So now let's duplicate this, duplicate it right here. Then let's duplicate these again, move them right here, and let's keep doing that a couple times here to make a pretty big map platform here. Like that. Then, oops, I did not mean to duplicate these spawn location. Okay, I'm gonna put the spawn location up here. And so when you spawn in, actually no, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make you spawn right here. I'm going to make another part, and then let's say, I'm not going to be making a round system. I'm gonna make a separate video for a round system in another video, only because round systems are a bit more complicated. So I won't be doing that for today's lesson. This will just be basic for your game, and I'll make a round system of tutorial another time. But for now, we're just going to make the simple game. So now, just to make it like maybe a bit more customized, I'm going to make it like this. I'm gonna make it like really thin, so you spawn really thin, make the spawn location pretty thin. Make it like this. I'm gonna get rid of the image, the decal inside of it, and then I'm going to make this transparent to 1, and then make it so you can walk through it by enabling can collide. So that's our spawn there. So now let's move this in the middle. So now I'm going to let me lock this part real quick. Lock it. So now I can go ahead and oops, I did not mean to do that. I think I accidentally okay, let me lock the part. I accidentally unlocked the base plate. Let me lock the part. Alright, so now I can select that, select all this. Oh wait, the spawn location I need to lock as well. Hold on, lock that. Alright, there we go. So now we can only select our tiles here. I'm gonna move that to there. Then move this over here like this. And that's pretty big for our tiles. Maybe like add 2 more rows of tiles right here. And that's pretty big. Since this is not gonna be an actual real game, I'm just doing this for the sake of the video. I'm not going to make this too big. So I'm going to unlock this, and let me actually select the spawn location. Another tip is if you want to select multiple things in the in your game without having to like do this, you can select whatever you want to select, and then hold shift, and then select whatever else you want to select. So wherever the spawn, you can also do this in the Explore. It works here as well. So I'm gonna hold shift and select the list. Oops. Sorry, oops, you, hold control, hold control, and there you go. You could select 2 things at the same time. You could select more things as you want. If you want to unselect something, you can press it. I don't know why that keeps coming up. So I'm going to move my spawn location and this part into the middle, like that. So now let's test this out. Also, I forgot to mention, play just, I explained this in my beginner scripting series, but play just means you'll spawn at the spawn location. Play here means wherever your camera is, you will spawn where your camera is, and run just means it runs the game, so it runs all the scripts while you're still a camera, so you can move around freely. So I'm just gonna press play like if I was joining the game, like normal, and I will spawn on here. Oops, this part is not anchored. Okay, anchor that. Spawn location should already be anchored, alright. So now, we run the game. Also, anything that touches the anything that touches these parts down here, it will trigger it since we added a touched event. I will show you how, in another video, how you can only make it so players can touch it, and it will work because anything can touch these parts, and it will trigger the event. So I'll just show you. So now I jump down, and now it's a simple game of tile escape. It does fall pretty slowly, so it does give you enough time to run around and everything. So it's a pretty simple tile game. They all fall down, and if I was to stand on one, it will fall, and now I'm falling to the ground. So I'm going to basically, I'm going to rename all these parts. So let me select all these parts that are named Lopez, and I'm going to rename them to tile. And now I'm going to duplicate those and then move them down right here, move them down like that again, then again, and then again, and that should be good. Alright, that's enough times. And now I'm going to make a separate part here. And I'm going to anchor this one. I'm going to name this one kill part. So whenever you fall as off the last tiles, you should it should kill you. So then you'll be done. Your run will be done. So once you fall all the way to the bottom, it will kill you. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to add a script in here, delete that, and now let's start scripting this kill brick. Alright, so this script will have a couple of things that we haven't learned yet. So I'll show you what I mean. So first, let's just say script.parent, which means we're getting the parent of the script, which is kill part, dot touched, so I'm making a touched event connect function. And now let's drop down. And now this is something we haven't learned. In the parameters of here, you want to put hit. It's basically the parameter. It's like a built-in parameter, which means it's just, I'll show you what I mean. So if I say if hit dot parent, or actually no, if hit dot find, actually wait, hold up. If hit and then dot parent, sorry, colon find first child, then humanoid, write humanoid in here. Then we're gonna drop down a line. We're gonna say hit dot parent dot hit dot parent dot humanoid dot health equals 0. There we go. So that means when we hit the part, it should work. So let's test this out here. Let's spawn. Actually, let me move this part to the floor right now, just so I can see if it works on the ground. So I'm gonna play here. So now, I'll explain to you what the script does in a minute, what we're talking about. So if I touch this, yeah, I should die. Alright, so, basically, we're saying script.parent, which is the kill part.touch, they're making a function. In here is the parameter hit. Then we're saying if hit, so basically hit is like the object, whatever, it's like a built-in parameter for like the object, so if whatever hits the part, so if hit.parent, which the hits parent, and then we're getting hits parent colon find first child. So just gonna find the first child of the parent, and then we want to find humanoid. Humanoid is basically in order for something to be called a character, it needs to have a humanoid in it, which basically makes it like a humanoid figure. It makes it have health and stuff. So now we're basically getting the humanoid. Then so we're saying if that happens, then hit.parent.humanoid, so the humanoid.health equals 0. So you can change it to whatever you want, actually, to whatever you want the health to be. I'm just going to change it to 0 so it kills you immediately. I'll explain to you more what that means in a future episode when we go for more advanced stuff, but that's how you make a kill part. It's pretty simple to make it. So I'm going to make this actually can collide off, and then change this to transparency 1 so you don't see it, so you just die. So now let's test our game here. And now if I fall all the way to the bottom, so let's say I jump off and I run around like this, jump onto all these parts. Let's say I fell and I run across all these parts down here. Let's see. I think some of the parts that do fall might fall and trigger other parts to fall, so that is a problem. I'll see if I can fix that in a second. Let me just see if this works. So now we fall and we're dead. Alright, so now let's see if we can fix the problem where this falls and it's actually, you know, it's fine for now. It's fine. This is just a basic, how you make a basic game, so we don't have to really fix that right now. What you probably could do is just make it so the part is like nothing, so like nothing can touch it. Actually, you'll probably just have to make it where the part like completely gets deleted, which that's just a bit too complicated for this video, so I'm not going to teach you how to do that. So it is going to be a problem when you step on parts. It is going to get rid of other parts. I'll go over how to fix that in another video probably, because that is a bit too advanced. This is going to be basic video, an ultimate video of how you make a game. So this is just going to be a simple game that we're going to be making, which is this little system that we made here. So you can customize this, do whatever you want with it, And I'm going to make this a free model, so I'm going to put it in the description of this video if you want to get this model. Alright, editor here. Editor Spicer here. So I forgot to mention one more thing. For when you're making games, a good tip is if you want everything to be organized. Let's just say I have all these tiles here and everything. I want to put all these in here, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to make folders. Folders keep stuff organized. So when you add something into the workspace, just add a folder. You can rename it to whatever. I'm going to name this to tiles. So all these tiles here, I'm going to scroll down. Excuse me. I'm going to get all the tiles here. Go all the way up. Grab all these tiles, put it inside the tiles folder. And now I'm going to make another folder, and then the folder. And now this one will be, I don't know, kill parts. Kill parts. I'm gonna put that in here. Even though it is one part, I'm just gonna make a folder for it. And then I'm gonna make a folder for spawn. So I'm gonna say spawn. Spawn right here. Actually, I did did put this part that you spawn on. I'm gonna put that in the spawn folder as well as the spawn location. So that's our spawn right here. And now I'm gonna get rid of the base plate. There we go. So now we're just floating in the void. It's like a tile system here. And then if you want to go even farther in, you can add a folder in here. You can say name this game. And then I can put all these folders in here and put it in there. And it's very organized. If you want a very organized game to find a lot of stuff, you're coming back to edit it. And you should see that the game should still work the same. So it should do the same stuff. And just make sure to be aware that if you're going through like game.workspace and stuff, it's probably not gonna work that well. Or some stuff might not work with folders because you have to go through the folder. Since this is not just directly in the workspace, you have to go through the folders to get into these. But hopefully that makes sense. And anyways, back to the main video, which is me saying goodbye. And yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like this video and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And thank you guys so much for watching again. And that's how you make a simple game on Roblox. Those are all the steps to making a game on Roblox. And I will be making more videos similar to this in the future. So thank you guys again so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video. Alright, goodbye.